the Bank of Maharashtra management told us that he'll actually have funds left over for growth capital. But realistically, do you think that they will?
My sense is, I think, getting capital is one thing, but getting a cleaner balance sheet and getting rid of all the bad quality assets is another thing. I think in the near term, these stocks have definitely appreciated considering the bank recap news, but going forward, what kind of asset quality numbers these banks throw up is going to be very important. I think in case of Bank of India, I think getting out of the PCA issue is going to be very critical. Unless they get out of PCA, only then disbursement, that is fresh disbursement, could happen. So overall, I think it's going to be a good positive, at least in the near term. But longer term, I think these banks need to yet clean up their books considerably. So I think longer term, we need to see core operating profitability for most of these banks to get improved, and then only I think you could see a bigger re-rating happening here.
Avinash, it's been more than a year since this cleanup process really started, whether it's coming in of the IBC cases, going to the NCLT, recovery efforts being stepped up, and of course recapitalization. We've not seen that traction kind of yet. Every quarter we hear, yes, NPAs are at peak, recoveries will improve, and this year was good for recoveries, I think almost 80,000 crores via NCLT alone. But in essence, when are we going to see that buying, or when are we going to see that market interest come back with vigor for PSU banks, barring those 1 or 2 days up moves that we see?
No, I think at least till the time the elections don't get over, I don't think you're going to see a very concerted kind of big rise in PSU bank stocks, simply because decisions are not going to be taken in a hurry. Only once the elections are over, you could possibly see some of these PSU banks actually outperforming. And here also I would believe that the larger banks like maybe an SBI or maybe a Bank of Baroda could definitely do much better than the smaller banks like say a Bank of Maharashtra. I think Bank of Maharashtra is ideally fit for a merger because looking at its asset quality levels of almost 17-18%, I think it's still a long way ahead, Deep, to ensure that some sort of re-rating would come in these sort of banks.
All right, fundamentals.